Hey YouTube. So tonight we're talking about some alternative heating methods. I live here in the Northeast. I heat my house with oil. Oil this year is actually the cheapest I've paid since we've been here. I paid $1.99 a gallon. We have a boiler, makes our domestic hot water, and our heat, hot water heat. For the first couple years, I paid an average of, I don't know, anywhere between I'm not going to say average, but somewhere between $3.25 to almost $4 a gallon for oil. The first winter we were here, we did get some wood. We have a fireplace with a wood burning insert, which they work really well compared to a fireplace because it's a contained stove. So it's just like a wood burning stove, but instead of freestanding, it's in your fireplace. Unlike a fireplace where you have this huge opening that's sucking the air in out of the room, and it's just not as efficient. We had another place that had it was definitely more for atmosphere. Didn't really provide a lot of heat, and then you can't really close anything up because you have to let everything die down. Anyways, the problem with wood here is we would get our load of wood, have to hump it around the back of the house, stack it under our deck. I had a hoop on the deck, refill that every so often. So it's a mess, it's dirty. So we ran out of wood this one particular year, and there was a place around here that I was looking to get wood, and I came onto these things. They're called, this is a different brand. This is called Hot Bricks. The first year I was burning them, they were called Bio Bricks. Just same principle, but just a different brand name. So basically it's a brick. It's the same principle as a pellet. It's a brick of compressed wood shavings and whatnot. And like I said, just like a pellet, if you're familiar with a pellet stove, then you know what I'm talking about. The thing I like about these, I mean, the pros are that they're cleaner, meaning I'll show you how they come. You could store them in the house. You can't store them outside. I guess that would be one disadvantage if you had a lot of outside space that you could use, because they shouldn't get wet. But they come wrapped 20 bricks in a sleeve, and you could stack them anywhere. You can store them in your closet upstairs. I stack them in my garage. I'll show you those in a minute. There's no moisture compared to firewood, or I should say less moisture. It's literally just old wood shavings that gets put into a machine and extruded into this brick. Early versions of this were not so good because they used some kind of binder, I guess, to hold the brick together. And when that binder burned, it was really dirty, and it really dirtied up your chimney. These now burn way hotter. They burn really super clean. The ash in the end is nothing compared to when I was burning wood. Little to no moisture compared to firewood. You buy a cord of wood from someone, it could be seasoned, but you're still going to get those wet pieces. My wife's allergies were acting up when we used wood. You don't get that with these. Now it's my understanding that they use the natural sap and whatnot to keep these compressed together. I did notice that this brand of hot brick, which I believe is made here in Connecticut, Renewable Heat Products in Waterbury, actually, kind of where I'm from, they're definitely not as nice. You can see like this one here is beat up a little bit, but they're stacking them in here, they're tossing them in, they stacked them for me. The other bio bricks were definitely a nicer brick. You can see it looks almost a little cracked, but even the guy had my chimney cleaned when we first moved in, and I was talking to him about it. I said they're really good for the chimney as well. They burn super clean. And I do like to keep my business local, so these are made here in Connecticut. I do like that. And basically to start them, if you go on their website, they give you a way to start them. But what I normally do, and I'll put a video in later because I had a fire. I'm going to have a fire. So yeah, you can see hot bricks. No bark, no dirt, and super clean. They still make a mess kind of around the fireplace when you're putting them in and out, but you're not worrying about leaving a trail of bark and bugs even. I didn't even think about that. And they work great. I highly recommend them. Now the downside is the cost. They're more expensive than wood, but 1 pound of these are equal to 1.7 pound of wood. So 1 pound of wood, these are equivalent. 1 pound of these are equivalent to 1.7 pounds of wood. But they're much more expensive than a cord of wood. I think a cord of wood around here now goes for probably about $180, maybe $200. These cost $300 for a pallet. I get 50 bundles of 20, so it's 1,000 bricks. So per 20 pack of bricks, it's $6, 30 cents a brick. So if you go onto their website, it kind of gives you hints on how to start them, the best way to do them. You don't want to pack them super tight. And I've definitely learned for a few seasons, you really got to let them get going. The first couple that you put in, I always start them like this. I put, either like this, and I used to use kindling and get a little fire going, but now I just buy these at Walmart. I probably go through about 2 boxes of these a season. They're pretty inexpensive. You get the Walmart brand, pine, whoever makes that log you can put in your fire, the compressed log, Pine Mountain or something. Theirs are a little more expensive. And this probably has the same crap in it that screws it up, but I don't use, like, this is 4 of these bricks, and I usually use maybe a half one to start a fire. So what I'll do is I'll put the brick in like this, put my fire starter in here, use a little match, a fire starter, get it going. Once it's going, I'll put this on like this, I'll let it go. And you really got to let these go. Once they start going, I might stack a few on the side, and then eventually I'll square them out, and I'll just start pushing them back. I'm going to try a different thing this year. They suggested doing it a different way, but so like I said, this year we've the last 2 years bought a pallet at the beginning of the season, and by like December, January, I run out, and I didn't want to have to store them all summer. They charge $300 for the pallet. And then I usually have a friend of mine who'll run out of wood, and so we'll split the second pallet. But basically this year I just bit the bullet and bought both pallets up front because it's $600 and they charge $25 delivery fee, but that's just one time. So $625 for 2 pallets delivered, and they stacked them in my garage for me, which was excellent. If I did it the old way, it's $300 a pallet and then $25 for every delivery time. So I saved $25. And who knows? I mean, Farmer's Almanac, if you believe in any of that stuff, saying we're in for another pretty bad winter. And it's cold here today. We actually have a fire going. So I'm going to show you the stacks of bricks. You can check them out. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so this is my 2,000 bricks. I opened that one pack to bring it out and show you guys. But basically, there it is stacked. I have a 2-car garage, and they're stacked 2 deep. You see? So, and they're actually 3 deep under that shelf. And they stack them in there for me. And it does take up 1 bay, but we don't really park a car on this side anyways. There's not enough room to have my motorcycle there. But we do use the other bay in the winter for my wife's car. And like I said, last year, honestly, I could have probably burned the whole 2 pallets, but I sold off in February and I bought the second pallet to my buddy. And, I probably could have used it. So if you guys are considering it, I mean, like I said, super clean. They burn really hot. Renewable resource. They're not cutting down trees to make them. They're using them from wood shops and whatnot. So hot bricks. These are made right here in Connecticut. That's what they look like. That's the little fire starter I use. And I will talk to you guys later. We'll go up now and I'll show you how we light them. All right, so this is my wood burning insert. As you can see, that's a fireplace. Inserts in there. This is the air control, all the way open. Just full air. Closing it down like that dampens the air, chokes the air out. Firebox. The way I do it is I take a brick like this. You can even turn it like this. A brick like this. And I just take the fire starters I told you about. I don't use a whole one. I break off a piece. Just a piece here. And I break this, even into a couple pieces. I used to do the kindling thing, but quite frankly, These are cheap enough at Walmart. And you really want to let these things get a good burn going, the bricks. You don't want to force it. Sometimes I use a piece of paper. For the most part, I buy these little lighters. And we'll get that going. All right, so once these get cranking like that, I'll go ahead and put this brick on. And I'll just let that go. You really want to let them get going. If you try to push it, you're going to snuff them out. They do need a lot of air to get going at first, so we'll leave that air control wide open. I'll even close the door and leave it cracked, you know, a good amount. And you can see, and I just keep a big bag of the bricks. I use this bag that we used to bring firewood up in. You see the whole bag is full. Fit 2 bundles. I'll talk to you later. All right, so it's 4:30. We just started that. I just wanted to mark the time to show you how long it takes to go. So 4:30, the fire starters are going good. And we're gonna let that go probably a good half hour easily to get cranking. Again, air control is wide open. Leave the door nice and cracked. Okay guys, so we're 45 minutes in. I did have to add another piece of fire starter, so it legitimately takes probably a half a fire starter. And you can see we got a good burn going. I'm still gonna let that go, but what I am gonna do is maybe just stick another one kind of right here. And we're gonna still just let it go. We're keeping the air control straight out, open. We're gonna keep the door cracked a good ways. So we'll let that go another half an hour. All right, see you later. Okay guys, it's hour and a half in, 6 o'clock. We started this at 4:30. We've got a good burn going. You can see the bottom ones in here are really cherry red. So I'm gonna just tamp this down a little bit, and then we'll let that go like that. I'm gonna put one more on. Got a lot of heat coming out of here now. Now I'll close and seal the door, and then at some point I'll consider choking the air down a little bit. And then we'll have the blower on auto. And when it gets hot enough that it's got a blower that'll move the hot air out through, but it's hot right here, right now. So that's pretty much it. I'll try to get one later when everything's going good and I choke the, damp the, close the airflow down a little bit. You don't really want to have all that flame all the time, although it looks good. You want the flame to be less. You're basically burning the smoke in the box for the most efficient heat. But just right now, my arm is burning being near it. So it does throw a lot of heat. All right, I'll talk. All right, so the blower just kicked on, so I know it's rolling hot. So I'm just gonna crank down this air control just a little bit. You probably don't even see anything. You see if I push it all the way in, you can see how it definitely opened it back up. So we'll just shut it a little bit at a time. You don't want to snuff it out. Once it gets hot enough, it's almost impossible to really snuff it out. It almost gets too hot sometimes. It'll burn them really fast. So I just cranked it down a little at a time, and I'll talk to you later.